Once again, I welcome you to learn English grammar through video lectures. In the previous video, we have started lesson number 7 of our grammar book. Lesson number 7 is verbs and tenses. We have seen the term verbs. Verbs tells us about the action performed by the subject or state of being of subject or the ownership of the subject. It is the most important part of a sentence. Now see the screen. You can see a clock. A clock or watch tells us about the time. And tenses means time. It is the grammatical name of time. Now, what does tense do? Tense shows time. Yes, the tense of a verb tells us when the action happens. That means tenses tells us about the time of the action performed. That means verb tells us about the action and tense tells us about the time of that action. So that is why they are related with each other. There are 3 types of tenses: past tense, present tense and future tense. Past tense tells us about the time which is past. Present tells us about the time which is going on, and future tells us about the time which is yet to come. One by one we will see how these 2 terms are related with each other, as the verbs in all the tenses are changing. How these changes are taking place we will see. First of all, present tense. Simple present tense, that means now. The present tense of a verb tells that something is happening now. That means this simple present tense tells us about the action which is going on now. It talks about the action that goes on every day or talks about the people in general. The habitual things or regular things also comes in present tense. We will see how to form or use the verbs in simple present tense. When we form a sentence in simple present tense, if the subject is singular, then we have to use verb plus s or es form. That means with the verb we have to add s or es according to the spelling of that verb. Singular subject, s or es with the verb. And if the subject is plural or if the subject is I or you, then the verb simple form of the verb will come as it is. We will see these examples, then you will be more clear. See this. He plays cricket very well. My mother teaches English. The sun sets in the west. We go to school regularly. You write nicely. I cook this dish for lunch. See the verbs in these sentences. Plays, teaches, sets, go, write, cook. Either the verbs are with s or es or in the simple form. When you get simple forms or s or es with the verbs, that means they are in simple present tense. Now see, he is a singular subject, so the verb is with s. My mother, again singular subject, verb is with es. It's according to their spellings. Sun, the sun, again singular subject, and it is a regular process, so it is again verb with s. We go to school regularly, a regular process. We is plural, and so the verb is without s or es. Next one, subject you and I, they are considered as plural subjects, so the verb will come simple form. No s or es is used with the subject you or I. So in this way, in simple present tense, verb should be used with s or es in singular subjects, and simple form of verb is used with I, you or the plural subjects. I hope you understood about present tense. Now let us move forward and see past tense. Past tense means before now. The past tense of a verb tells that something already happened. Simple past tense tells us about the action that have taken place earlier, which is already over. See the example, I ate the apple. That means this action is completely over. So when we talk about the action which is performed in the past period of time, it comes under past tense. Now we will see how the verbs are used in simple past tense. First, when we use verbs in simple past tense, we add most of the words, we add ed to the verb so that it become a past tense. But when the verbs end in e, we add only d. Okay, some words are there which ends with e letter. So in that case, we add only d. There are some words where we have to see the last two letters. In some words, the last two letters ends in one vowel plus one consonant. And when we get such words, what we have to do is, we have to double the last letter. We have to write it again plus ed is added. By doing this, we will get the past form of that word. Now, the next one, the words which end in y. There are some verbs which end in y. In that case, we have to replace y with I, and with that we have to add ed to get the past tense of that word. Now, there are some irregular verbs. What are irregular verbs? The verbs which change completely when they change into past tense. Such verbs are called irregular verbs. That means in the first form the word of the verb is something, and when we change it into the past tense, the word entirely gets changed. So that is irregular verb. Now the last one, there are some verbs which remains same. There is no change when they are used in the past tense. So these are the different forms of verb in simple past tense. Somewhere we have to use ed, some words d, some words we use ied, some are irregular verbs, some are the last letter is doubled and then ed is added, and some remains the same. According to the sentences and according to the verbs, we have to make changes for the past tense. Now, let us see some examples to see these various forms of verbs in past tense. My teacher asked me some questions. She lived near Lal Bagh. I skipped my lunch today. Baby cried loudly. Raj bought a new car. He cut the vegetables finely. Now let us see the verbs here. Asked, lived, skipped, cried, bought and cut. These are the verbs here. Now see the simple form and the past tense of the verbs. Ask, ask, we have added ed to make the past tense. Next, live, live, the word is ending with e, so we have added only d to make the past tense. Next one, skip, skip, the last two letters I is a vowel and p is a consonant. So when we get a vowel and consonant in the end of a word and we have to make it into past tense, what we have to do is we have to double the last letter. Here it is P, so double P and ed is added, and we have made the past tense of skip as skipped. Next word, cry, C-R-Y. Y, we have to replace Y with I and ed is added to form the past tense of cry as cried. Next one, bring. Past tense of bring will become bought. The word entirely gets changed and it is known as the irregular verb. Next one, cut. Past tense of cut is cut. Same word. These verbs are not changed. So the past tense also it will remain the same. So in this way these past tense words are used to form the sentences in past tense, and these words tells us that the sentences are in past tense. Now we will move to the next tense, that is future tense. Future tense. Future tense means after now, the time which is yet to come. The future tense of a verb tells that something will happen later. A simple future tense is used to tell us about the action that will happen in the future time. See the example. I will eat that apple later. That means this action will be performed by the subject afterwards. In future tense, we use will as a helping verb to stand with the main verb. Will plus verb. It expresses the future tense. And with the pronouns I and we use shall also. Will is also correct, but with I and we, it is better to use shall. Now let us see some examples of a future tense also. Ashi will come in the evening. They will write till 8 o'clock. He will go to Goa next week. I shall complete my project tomorrow. So, will come, will write, will go, shall complete. These are the verbs in these sentences. Will and shall are the words which tells us that these sentences are in future tense. There are some words like next week, tomorrow. These also express the tenses that they are in future tense. So I hope you have understood about the present tense, past tense and future tense. If you got any doubt, you can ask me. You can see the table which is there in page number 82 with tenses, number, persons, tenses, simple present, simple past, simple future, number, singular, plural and singular plural, first person, second person, third person, first person the speaker, second person the listener, and the third person about whom or about which we are talking about. So in this way the table is shown here. You go through the table and if you got any doubt you can ask me. Exercise part of tense is left. We will do that in the next video. And see the value of this lesson. Don't cry over the past, it's gone. Don't stress about the future, it hasn't arrived. Live in the present and make it beautiful. So it is very necessary to live in the present to make it beautiful, because this is the time which we are having in our hand. Past gone, future not seen. Whatever is there is only the present. So happily spend the time which is in your hand, that is present. And till the next video, take care, be safe and stay blessed. Thank you.